Hey there, welcome back to my channel. Today I want to do something a little bit different. So I recently mentioned that I am on this new journey of green witchcraft and I'm committing to it. I am all in. So I bought this Herbal Tarot by Tierra and Cantin a few months ago to be a companion to that endeavor. So I've never unboxed anything or reacted to anything on this channel before, but I wanted to sort of do it in my own way and show you guys how I interact with the new deck, how I explore it, and what my first steps are whenever I collect something new of this sort of divinatory tool. So I hope this is interesting. I'd love your feedback. Let's get started. Typically before I start actually using a deck in the past, I've either slept with it under my pillow for a while, or I've cleansed it, or I've done some sort of intention setting with the deck itself. I think because this whole green witchery thing and this effort to engage in herbalism and all that is so new, and I'm trying to just be completely open, like let myself be the fertile fields, I think instead I'm just gonna do a quick pull right out of the box and not take it, too seriously, and then store this deck for a while in the sun next to all the houseplants that I have been collecting recently. I know there's a lot of ways that you can bond with a new deck. I don't think I've actually really found the one that works for me quite yet. The decks that I do find myself actually using on a regular basis, because I'm not as big into cards as I used to be, but the ones I do keep using are the ones that I didn't really feel like I needed to build much relationship with those decks. They just kind of connected with me like instantly. Tarot of the Cat People and the Dream Enchantress Tarot are the two that stick out to me as like they've just stuck with my heart really well. So we're just gonna kind of wing it with this. I'm not gonna take it too seriously. I'm gonna go for a very heart-to-heart sort of approach. That's the color green, right? Is this heart area, this heart space. So we're gonna see how it goes. This is my tarot notes notebook. I have the deck, and of course, because of the nature of this endeavor, I have made myself a cup of Earl Grey tea that will just kind of keep me warm and cozy as I explore this deck further. So usually when I start with a new deck, I just open up a new page in my notebook and I will set out my goals for that deck before even opening the box or reading any of the booklets or anything like that. So in this case, my goal is to have a deck that is less cerebral than the other ones I use. I work in a lot of dream magic and astral stuff. I want something that's going to ground me in the earth plane, something that will connect me more to the earth mother, the cycles of the planet, the cycle of the seasons, and I want to be grounded. I'm kind of switching from a more hedgy approach to witchcraft to a very earthy one, so I want help with that journey. So something that I also was really drawn to about this deck, not just that it's, herbal and earthy and I'm trying to learn to, garden and stuff, is that it's kind of a meshing, as if a garden just sort of bloomed inside of a Rider-Waite deck, which I was really attracted to because I've never actually connected with the Rider-Waite Tarot very well, but I wanted something that had that imagery, that sort of had that traditional tarot feel, but was, different and new and connected more with my spirit. Of course, this deck has the nice little black book that we're pretty much all accustomed to at this point. What I was really impressed with right off the bat was that the little black book doesn't just have, what herb is depicted on that card, but it does say the medicinal uses of that herb as well as its divinatory meanings. So having this deck in my hands, I was really drawn to the colors and the style and the richness, how vivid it was, but what really caught my heart was this opening line. The path of the herbalist is to open ourselves to nature in an innocent and pure way. She in turn will open her bounty and reward us with many valuable secrets. May the earth bless you. This felt like such a warm embrace to the start of a deck, especially maybe because I'm on a new journey. Maybe that's why. But I felt welcomed. I felt like it was safe to maybe make some mistakes, to be a learner. And I loved it. I felt like I was that fool on that next card, and that was okay. So I want to just kind of run through these major Arcana cards to sort of give you a taste of this deck one by one. I was really also just pleased with the outfits and the different people's faces and the diversity that was kind of seen here. And I don't just mean like on an ethnic sense. I meant like each card did feel pretty distinct on its own. I was really blown away by the artwork here. There were a few things that really stood out to me. For example, the chariot having the Taoist symbol was really unexpected, and I liked the placement. I liked how it was drawn. Some of the traditional cards were sort of switched out. For example, we have Medicine Wheel. Instead of the Hanged Man, we have the Suspended Person, which I really appreciated. One of my favorite switcheroos was the devil being Pan. That was, honestly, it just brought like such a smile to my face. And I love the drawing too. I would love a poster of this card in my room. It would be great. Garlic on the tower. I'm not an herbalist yet. I'm not a green witch yet, but seeing that, for some reason, it fit. It clicked with me. I just loved how familiar these cards felt because of the Rider-Waite inspired nature of it, even the color palette. It felt like something I could know and recognize, but at the same time it was visually interesting and new, and that's exactly what I was hoping for from this sort of meshed deck. With the major arcana done, let's take a look at the suits. So the first suit that I was really keen to see was the suit of Cups. Cups is my suit. That's the suit that I didn't need to study very much to really get the story that was being told. So I wanted to see how it was depicted here, and I was really pleased with just how well the cup imagery stood out when all the cards were aligned together. I loved how colorful it was. I felt like there was definitely a setting, like it felt like one little world was being occupied by these cards, like they were in their own small realm of existence. I was really excited to see Lotus as the Ace of Cups. That brought back a lot of Indian mythology, Vedic mythology into my mind. I also really liked that the 10 of Cups was a marijuana. I thought that was really cool, and I was pleased to see marijuana associated with cups and in the deck at all. The 6 of Cups was really cute with the watermelon. It felt very cottagecore to me and charming, and I don't know, I thought of Bavaria. So then I checked out the suit of Wands, which was very different than the suit of Cups. It felt a bit more flat than Cups, where Cups felt like it was occupying a realm of its own. The suit of Wands felt a bit more final and present. Yellow was definitely the dominant color, which I would sort of assume that yellow would be more of a swords color, but I liked it here. I liked that sort of fiery energy that came through despite all of the greenery. And just like Cups, I felt like the actual wand image really stood out card to card. There was definitely a wisdom that came through from wands being laid out that way, and I felt sort of like the deck was looking at me rather than me observing it for the first time. Pentacles was dazzling. I absolutely love the pentacle design. I like that it was predominantly yellow and purple. There was some yellow and blue, but yellow and purple are very, royal colors, and I associate pentacles in general with very regal mindedness. Very bourgeois, one might say. I was thrown back into the 60s or the 70s, like there was some Austin Powers vibes coming off of it. Similar to Cups, it was extremely colorful. Swords was interesting because I think that the iconography of the sword got a bit more lost than in the other suits, but not in a way where I was bothered by it. I think there was more of open space. It felt more breathable, which air being the element of swords matched well. I know that 3 of Swords is a very common, popular card. It's common in tattoos, and I really do like the look of it here. I think that it's pleasing, but the one that really stood out to me that I didn't expect was the 9 of Swords. It kind of shook me a bit. Also, I just love the blood on 10 of Swords. I thought that was a nice touch from the artist. I just quickly wrote my first impressions of those suits, just 2 words that stood out to me. So for Cups, the words that came to mind were creativity and juicy. For Pentacles, it was royalty and luxurious. For Swords, it was knowing and focused. And Wands, I felt complexity, and I had the imagery of reeds in my head. I'm going to just go ahead and pull 3 random cards. I'm going to let them spring out of the deck as I shuffle them. This will be the first time I've shuffled all the cards together, and the first 3 cards that sort of emerge from this shuffling will be the get to know you spread that I typically would do after a few weeks of carrying a deck around. I'm just going to go for it this time. The first card is sort of the personality of the deck. It's that surface level. The second card I consider to be the lessons that deck is offering, and the third card would be the challenges. What I'm interested in is this deck on its own. What does it have to say for itself? So for the personality of this deck, The card that came out was the Sun, which is associated with Angelica, which warms the blood, promotes circulation, it brings withdrawn people outside into the light of the sun. It gave me a lot of friendliness and sort of an earthly joy. It aligns well with my intentions, and it's encouraging me to go outside and get dirty in my own garden and not just wild places where I typically have been drawn to. It also made me think about wanting to build community around herbalism, urban farming, and green witchcraft. And it also made me think about sun worship too, and the life-giving nature of the sun. And I was just exploring solar goddesses recently as a part 2 to my Finding a New Goddess video, trying to find one that would suit this new adventure of mine. For the lessons offered is 7 of Wands, which is Wild Ginger. The first thing I thought of with this card was Jack and the Beanstalk. It just gives that vibe, doesn't it? Which I really love, and now I want to reread it. Basically, the lessons of this deck then would be that it's going to teach me how to stand up for myself and stick to my intentions, even when the struggle becomes a little bit too much. For the challenges posed, it's just the next step in that wand cycle, 8 of Wands, Sassafras, which purifies the blood and treats skin issues like sores, boils, and eruptions. It's good for also urinary problems and is a treatment for cancer, apparently, so that's interesting. All these meanings are from the little black book, of course. So I guess if this deck is the sun, like the solar system had a violent and chaotic beginning that led to its present form, I think that this deck, it's going to teach through struggle and teach through perseverance. The image that comes to my mind is when you see weeds growing through the cracks in the cement on the sidewalk, right? There is beauty in struggle. I think this deck might become my go-to for things that are bringing me stress in the earthly realm, physical realm kind of problems, and when I need to grow through a trial or I'm growing through a cycle. And of course, it'll be my source of inspiration on my green witchcraft journey. I hope, anyway. This is just the first time I played with this deck, so hopefully it sticks. We'll see. I'll be honest if it doesn't last long or I don't find myself reaching for it, but based on my first impressions overall, I think I will be. This is a beautiful deck, and I'm really excited to see if the herbal lessons really match well with the actual tarot cards. So maybe in a few months, when I've had some more time with it, I will have a little update on what I've learned from it so far and how it's going. So thank you again for watching. I'd love to know what you thought of this video and the format, and I hope to see you very soon.